Hello, I'm Gillian Tett, US Managing Editor of the Financial Times, and I'm speaking from the FT Cybersecurity Conference in Washington. I'm joined by Tom Burt, who's a Deputy General Counsel of Microsoft, who's in charge of the Digital Crimes Unit there. Now, Tom, thanks for joining us today. Digital Crimes Unit, what are you actually doing at Microsoft? Because most people think about you as being to do with Windows, not sleuthing or crime fighting.
Well, the Digital Crimes Unit is one part of Microsoft's approach to battling cybercrime. And what we do is we try to work to protect vulnerable populations like children and seniors on the internet and to battle the criminal attacks on that particular populations. But we also work to defend our own network and our data centers and our customers in the data centers against cybercrime attacks against them. And we work to identify the cyber criminals and then to try to bring them to justice.
Now, to what degrees do you actually have the laws in place or the means to bring cyber criminals to justice? Because cybercrime today is an international problem, isn't it?
It's very much an international problem. And we have many of the laws that we need, especially in the US and in other jurisdictions around the world. But because cybercrime is such a truly international and border-free kind of crime, we need constant improvement to the laws around the world, modernization of those laws to bring the proper balance between law enforcement and privacy, and to have the kind of international coordination that's necessary to fight cybercrime when it's truly international in scope.
But in an era when, in fact, there's a growing distrust between governments emerging, not just in the cyber field, but other areas too, is coordination actually improving at the moment, or are we going backwards?
I think in the present environment, there are challenges to coordination because different countries have legitimate interests in the privacy of their citizens and in their concerns about the relationship between the nations and the ability to fight cybercrime and exchange of information over the internet. And at the same time, we found in our work, for example, the work we do to disrupt botnets around the world, that it is possible to get great coordination between international law enforcement agencies and the private sector, other companies involved in battling cybercrime, in order to have successful campaigns against the criminals. But it's an ongoing process, and it's one where improvement is always necessary.
But have you actually successfully prosecuted anybody who, say, created a botnet? I mean, you took down a big botnet in December last year, didn't you? Is that going to lead to prosecutions?
It will lead to prosecutions, and there have been occasions where there have been prosecutions, and we look forward to more of those. There's always the challenge of identifying the cyber criminals. It's a largely anonymous opportunity to commit crime, and so we work with law enforcement. We build the cases as well as we can. We turn it over to law enforcement. Their investigation capabilities are improving all the time so that we can actually identify who the individuals are and get them arrested by law enforcement and prosecuted when the opportunity exists.
And how's the relationship with the federal government? I mean, because in the past people have said, well, in fact, many companies have been very wary of revealing too much information to the government, and the government's been hugging information too. Do you still see that situation being problematic?
In our particular instance, we need to work independently of the federal government because we're working for the benefit of our customers and of our business. And at the same time, when we identify information that we know is of interest to law enforcement, we are happy to share that information with law enforcement. We have a great relationship with the FBI in the US, with Interpol, with Europol, and with a number of other law enforcement agencies around the world who we've partnered with in doing our cybercrime activity. But it's an area where we always need to improve and continue to develop those kinds of partnerships and to encourage cross-border cooperation between law enforcement agencies, because that's what it's going to take to successfully battle cybercrime.
And that's, of course, where the challenge is. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.